Live from our studios, just steps from the fabulous Las Vegas Strip, it's the Business Lounge with your host, David Wright.
Hi, I'm your host, David Wright, and welcome to the Business Lounge. With me today, I have Stacey Hall. She is the CEO and founder of Chi2B. Stacey, thank you for being on the show today.
It is completely an honor, a pleasure, and a joy for me.
Thank you. Thank you. Why don't we start with telling the audience a little bit about who Stacey Hall is?
Well, Stacey Hall is a wife and the mother of some fur babies, but more importantly, she's somebody who is currently absolutely dedicated to saving the lives of successful people who are stressed to the snapping point. Because that was me a number of years ago until I was blessed to be able to receive information that got me out of a 2-year illness and back out in the world. And so I'm unstoppable in helping other people find out that they can be unstoppable too.
I also noticed, and I didn't mention it with the introduction, that you're also an author. So talk to me a little bit about the 2 books that you've either co-written or written.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Both of which came out of coaching clients, actually. My first book, Attracting Perfect Customers, The Power of Strategic Synchronicity, came about because I had been teaching people what I call the strategic attraction planning process. 4 steps to being able to attract to us the people we're meant to serve. At the time I introduced it in 2001, people were still talking about guerrilla marketing and doing business like war. And I said, that's got to stop. And now I'm thrilled that I made a declaration back then that people would stop talking guerrilla marketing and start talking relationship or attraction marketing, and people do now. And I say it's because of that book. The second book really came about unexpectedly, and it's truly from people asking me, how did I overcome the adrenal fatigue that almost killed me? And got back out there and started being productive again. And that's Chi2B, which people think is very woo-woo, but actually Chi means energy. And it's the energy to be well, to be happy, to be successful, to be financially prosperous, to be whatever we intend to be.
So talk to the audience a little bit about the power of attraction. How does that work? I know, some people say, well, you either like people or you don't, but in business you don't often get a chance to choose who you're going to be doing business with. You have to be able to get through some of the hurdles that we're faced in our personal lives. So talk to me a little bit about that.
I love that you asked that question because I don't have to do anything, and neither do you anymore. I get to choose, and that's what it's all about. Who am I choosing to spend my time with? Who did I decide I was either going to work for if I choose to have a job, or who is it I am choosing to serve if I'm going to be an entrepreneur? And if I allow someone else to tell me what I'm going to do, then that's my choice too. The strategic attraction planning process is 4 parts. First, I get to identify, describe for myself who are the people that I have the skills to serve, and how do I want those people to interact with me. The second part is what is most important in the world to me. And David, you might say, well, how does that interact with business? Well, if I'm not doing whatever it is that helps me to have a better experience of what's most important to me, then I am dying on the vine every time I show up for work. The third part is, who do I want to be in business? Who do I want to be in business so that I show up that way with the people I want to serve? And the fourth part is, okay, where's that gap between who I say I want to be and who I really am right now, and how am I going to close that gap?
That sounds like an excellent plan, and I know sometimes people think planning when it comes to business. The word plan is a 4-letter word,
yes.
Plan. So how do you start with a business person that's looking to overcome that stress and become more attracting to the people they want to serve?
Okay, I start with 2 questions. always, and any of my clients and my friends will tell you, these are Stacey's 2 questions. The first is, what is the greatest goal that you intend to achieve before you leave this earth? And there are people who will say to me, I don't know, I don't have one. And then I'll say, then why are you still alive? Okay? There must be some reason, even if it's just to live. And the second question is, what is the most important thing in the world to you, bar none? And some people will say, it's my children. Or some people will be, because I want to be of service in the world. And then I will go with that, go, what's underneath it? What do your children represent to you? What does being of service represent to you? And when we get to that deep core answer, what we have is, what is the goal that I'm working on? Along with what is most important to me that I must have an experience of. You combine those 2 together, and now you know either what kind of job you're going to choose to have or what kind of business you're going to choose to create. And then that's my role, is to help people stay physically, emotionally, mentally, and energetically well to be able to accomplish those 2 goals.
So help us understand who would be a client that you'd serve. What type of clients do you serve?
I serve a vast variety, and so it would be very easy for me to say I serve everybody. That's not true. I serve people who know they deserve to be successful. Usually people who have already had some measure of success in whatever industry. I mean, you name an industry, I've been of support to them. The difference is that they wound up collapsing somewhere along the way. Their success was not sustainable. So they're not the people who are still whining that they don't get to be successful or they're afraid of success. They're the people who know that they can be successful. They're just not sure what happened. Where did they lose it? Well, did they lose their health? Did they lose their belief in themselves? Did they lose a positive attitude? Somewhere they lost. And it's my role to be able to show them they didn't lose it all. They just came to the end of a cycle. And now we get to start the next cycle up again.
So your typical client must go through a screening process.
Yes.
And through the screening process, you uncover the things that you can assist them to see for themselves, because change starts within.
Yes. It's the 2 questions. That's my screening process. It's that simple and it's that challenging.
So there has to be more than just 2 questions to screen somebody. So if you were to take me on as a client, and
Okay.
I said what's important to me is that I leave a legacy, what would you tell me?
All right. Well, the first I'd say, what does leaving a legacy represent for you?
And that legacy to me would mean that off into the future, at some point in time, someone will look and say that I made a difference in somebody's life. That's all my legacy needs to be.
All right. Now I'm going to ask you, tomorrow morning, because I know you believe in something bigger than yourself. If the messengers from whatever that is, whether it's God, Creator, whatever you call it, if you woke up and before you got out of bed, you looked over and there they were, and they said, before you wake up fully, we want to make sure you know the world changed a bit last night. You will not be able to leave a legacy for the rest of your time on earth. Would you still get out of bed?
Oh, absolutely.
Why?
Because at that time I would already have understood that my Creator would have said, well done, good and faithful servant.
And then what's the point of getting out of bed after that point?
No, the part is the journey to enjoy life, is to move forward
Okay.
and to continue in spite of the things that happen, because it is a matter of choice.
Do you know that you just told me what's really most important in the world to you is the journey. The journey of life is most important to you. So now I'd ask you, what is the greatest goal you intend to achieve before you leave this earth? So on the last day of your life, you're looking back to this moment when Stacey asked you this question. Between now and that last day of your life, what has to be accomplished?
Oh, there's a whole laundry list of things I'd like to get accomplished before I end my life. But I think more importantly, it's all about the lives I touch more than the things I do. So those are the things that would be important to me.
Great. So what you and I would do together, if we were going to work together, is I would tell you first, the most important thing in the world to me is to make God smile every day. One way or another, I have to do something that makes God smile. Do you feel like we connect in some way, shape, or form?
Well, we have to, because you're here today. So.
Well, yes, I would agree with that. But I just do you
giving
hear
you
some,
a bit of a hard
right,
time.
But in what I said, do you feel like what's important to you, the journey, is the same as what's important to me?
Yes, I believe that.
Absolutely. So that's right.
True.
So first off, we have that foundation together. Now, the 11 ways of keeping your energy high so that you can continue to touch lives, that's what I would offer to you. And that's what's in She to Be. My first book was so successful, but I hadn't learned the other 10 energy surges to be able to sustain my success. I now know them after winding up in bed for 2 years and 3 months. And those 10 came to me when I said to God, okay, enough already. This is ridiculous. Doctors aren't helping me. I'm doing my best to figure out how I got into this place in the first place. What don't I know that I haven't been listening to or that I wasn't open to receiving? And when I started praying for those answers, they came. So I can honestly tell you there are 11 ways, and only 11 ways, to sustain the success we intend to have, no matter what that success is. And that would be where I would start with you, is telling you what those are and see if you want to work with me to master them.
Outstanding. Well, I have noticed, I've been on Facebook a lot, and you seem to be very successful at getting your message out on Facebook. What other avenues do you use to get your message out about your business?
Social media-wise, I have to give kudos, huge praise, huge love to my social media team. I knew right away that I wanted to be everywhere, and doing it by myself was not going to make it happen. Energy surge number 11, getting my accountability partners in place. So I have a fabulous team. We work with Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and Google+. And on Facebook, we have numerous fan pages and groups and things because we focus in on people's personal interests. That said, my greatest tool is personal communication, which means I do have to have a screening process. I choose to have a screening process because, I'll give you an example very quickly. Yesterday, someone found me on LinkedIn, said they wanted to talk to me about working with me. I have a certain amount of time in each day that I will return phone calls to people who contact me unsolicited. I returned this person's call, and I asked how they wanted to work with me. And they started, I won't go into too much detail, but they started to become clear that they were unclear on what they wanted to accomplish. I asked them what their greatest goal was. They didn't know. I asked them what's the most important thing in the world to them. They didn't know. I said, here's what's important to me. Here's my be-all, end-all goal. How do you fit with that in some way? Just like I asked you. The person said, I have no clue. Let's get together and chat. And I said, I wish you the greatest success. My perfect client is somebody who knows. I give my time to them. And so that's how that is my screening process in a nutshell.
I heard you say 3 things there that are really interesting, and I think the audience needs to pick up on them if they didn't. One is you know who you are, so that's key to moving forward in your business. Yeah. Secondly, you have a schedule and you stick to that schedule. You talked about having a time that you return phone calls to unsolicited calls. And I think that's key as well. I think sometimes, and got to do it now, got to have it now, you want to do all of that, and that doesn't work. And then thirdly, that the person really has to know who they are. Yes. You have to know who they are, thereby giving you very targeted clients. Is that one of the things that you strive for, is to have a very targeted audience?
Very clear. I would say, I don't like the word targeted, although I believe that I said special interests earlier. What's important to me is that somebody does know who they are and what they're about. Or if I ask them those 2 important questions, they're able to tell me because somewhere they've been thinking about it. They're not waiting for me to tell them who they are. And that's the difference between somebody who's perfect for me to serve and somebody like yesterday where he was drawn to what he read about me. In fact, he said, wow, I misinterpreted you. And I said, well, then that's my responsibility. I'll go back and see what I've put out on LinkedIn that you felt that I'd be here to help you figure that out. I do. For my clients, I can help them get clearer, but I can't help people figure out who they are. My perfect clients already know. They want somebody who's going to be there to help them be fully who they are and help them move the blocks that have been in the way out of the way so that they can keep on moving at lightning speed, or as I like to say, with velocity and ease.
There you go. 1 minute shameless plug.
Shameless plug. All right, well, my shameless plug is I would love everyone to have my weekly Chi Lift of Possibility blog. It's free, and all you have to do is go to chi-to-be.com/blog, B-L-O-G, and every week I will send you a message that I'm putting into practice that helps me remember there's always possibilities for success. So that's one shameless plug. And the other is take a look at chi2be.com while you're there. Look around the Chi store. You'll find out information about my audios, my book, my teleclasses, my private coaching, and my Chi generating oil anointing technique retreats.
All right. Stacey, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
This is Dave Wright for the Business Lounge, where we talk to real people, real business, real success. Until the next time, thank you for tuning in.